So, good afternoon, my friends. Thank you very much for being here with me. I'm going to read the lesson 1.39, break the cycle, increase self-respect and love, okay? So, skipping the first two paragraphs and the videos, this is the link down below, okay? Two priceless personal assets healthy people develop over time are self-respect and non-egotistical self-love. Many survivors of low-nurturing childhood are burdened with psychological wounds, including excessive shame. They often have trouble loving and respecting themselves equally with other people. This article offers perspective and suggestions how to understand and develop these two assets. This article assumes you are familiar with the introduction to this website and all the other videos previous to this one, okay? Grown within children, what it means to be a GWC, an overview of psychological wound reduction, recovery, that's deconditioning, your human assets and rights as a unique, worthy person, and the perspective of interpersonal respect. Perspective. We humans are judgmental creatures. From our earliest years, we are taught to judge people as good or bad, right or wrong, nice or obnoxious, and so on. We gradually accumulate criteria for respecting, approving, and admire people, including ourselves. We humans are if we have holistic, healthy, attentive early caregivers, we learn to appreciate our strengths and talents and accept our limitations without undue guilt or shame. If caregivers steadily love themselves and us in a healthy way, we may learn to like, respect, and love others. Because the epidemic of wounds and unawareness cycle, the more common outcome of early childhood is that preteens and teens often lack self-respect and self-confidence. They have inferiority complexes, low self-esteem, and related anxieties without intervention that usually continues into adulthood and depletes health and relationships. For such teens and adults, early guilt-free self-respect and self-love, it is a do-it-yourself challenge. This article and self-improvement course offers options towards mastering that vital challenge. Options for improving self-respect. Think of someone you respect highly. Identify what it is about them specifically that causes your admiration and improvement. Note the difference between liking someone and respecting them. Now think of someone you don't have much respect for. Why do you feel that way specifically? With these criteria in mind, rate yourself current respect low, medium, high as a person, a female or male, a partner or friend, a neighbor, a daughter or son, a sibling or relative, a student and or an employee, a citizen. If you are nurturing minor kids, make each of the options below part of your parenting goals. Imagine that your life would be like if your early caregivers knew enough to do this for you. Consider using these options as a checklist now and over time to discover your self-respect status and track your progress. Option 1. Free your true self to guide your other personality sub-selves in any situation. If your talented inner leader is disabled too often, your goal becomes empower myself, not improve my self-respect. If you are skeptical about personality sub-selves, read this and try this safe exercise, then return here. As you reorganize your sub-selves, develop your awareness of the critical and discouraging inner voices, thoughts and images. From your shamed child, inner critic, perfectionist, people's pleaser, moralizer, skeptical doubter, and some other sub-selves. Stay aware that your tireless guardian sub-selves are each trying to protect you. Then build your self-ability to confront these sub-selves respectfully. Choose to think something like, look, thoughts like that hurt me, so stop. Instead, I need you to encourage me. Experiment with that and notice the interesting inner debates that occur. Yourself may still disrespect some of your actions and choices, but you will do so with compassion, not scare. He or she may not approve of the traits or views of some of your sub-selves, but will still accept them and believe in their overall worth and value. Option 2. Identify your current life priorities and judge by your recent actions and choices. One sure sign is that your self, capital S, is guiding you spontaneously, ranking your holistic health and growth among your life priorities. This is foreign to most of us grown wooden children, GWCs, and must be learned. Self-neglect is much more familiar. Option 3, develop your personal awareness. It's essential for effective thinking and communicating, and for replacing shame and self-neglect with healthy self-respect and love. Paradox. If you can't experience the priceless benefits of awareness until you practice it, of course, it has to be on your energetical frequency, okay? If you can't experience the priceless benefits of awareness until you practice it, growing the habit of being aware in all situations empowers you to sense your current level of self-respect and other vital things that can empower you to improve. It is as needed if your self is guiding you. On a scale of 1 to 10, how aware are you of these days and nights? Option 4, accept that you are responsible for your opinion yourself. Then decide how important it is to earn and maintain your self-respect each day and night. Many grown wounded children are used to letting other people dictate their self-acceptance and self-respect without any question. Option 5, think of the people you most admire and respect, and identify the specific traits that cause your approval. Then identify the specific core values that you want to live your life by. For example, honesty, kindness, reliability, compassion, courage, diligence, and patience. Option 6. Your integrity is living your life by your own core values in all public and solitary situations. Your integrity is doing what's right when no one is watching. Develop your awareness of these values in confusing and or scary situations, and notice how you feel if you live by or violate them. Honoring them increases your self-respect, and violating them promotes shame and guilt. Living by your core values is most likely your true self guiding you. There is then a YouTube video. Option 7, reflect and say out loud, the people whose opinion of me matters the most now are. If me doesn't head the list, review option 1 above. Overactive shamed child, guilt child, dutiful child, and people's pleaser sub-selves will insist that other people's opinions are more important. Part of harmonizing these sub-selves is affectionately teaching them that opinion is harmful. Recall, we are reviewing practical options for improving your self-respect. Recall, we are reviewing practical options for improving your self-respect. Option 8. Identify and validate your personal Bill of Rights. Stay aware of how calmly asserting your rights and limits without guilt nourishes your integrity and self-respect. Typical kids raised in a low nurturing environments learn to devalue or ignore their personal rights and or assert them timidly with lots of anxiety and guilt. Does that describe you as a child or not? Is each young person in your life learning their personal rights and how to assert them effectively? Exercise. Try slowly reading this Bill of Rights out loud when you are not distracted. Note your inner voices, thought streams as you do, and try to identify which sub-selves are speaking. If you hear yes, but, or similar with some rights, you will need to persuade each sub-self to change their attitudes with their common good. Check each sub-self to see if it's living in some past time, and use parts work to invite you to live with all parts in the present. That can help you then release self-limiting expectations. Option 9. Review your expectations, should, must, have tos, ought tos, and cannot of yourself, and be patiently identify where you got each of them. A parent, a hero, heroine, teacher, church, or someone else. Your expectations come from you. A typical unaware GWC bring the expectations of some childhood grown-ups into adulthood until some trauma occurs. We seldom question and update our largely unconscious old expectations of our sub-selves. This promotes automatic self-criticism, guilt, and more shame. Use these ageless guidelines for daily inspiration. Option 10. When your self, capital S, guides you, identify your specific criteria of awarding self-respect and commit to achieving more of them more often. You meditate and or journal to identify the standards of your sub-self used to decide whether your values, thoughts, and actions merit your self-approval. Examples. I respect myself when I have the courage to overcome doubts, fears, and risk painful failure, conflict, and rejection by confronting some scary person or challenge. I feel really good about myself when I consistently fulfill my responsibilities to others and myself thoroughly, honestly, to the best of my abilities. I respect myself when I know my limits, rights, and boundaries, assert them clearly, and say no without major shame, guilt, or anxiety. I appreciate the way I creatively balance work, play, and rest most days, and I take consistent care of my health and security in effective ways. I am pleased with myself when I use my talents to benefit other people. I admire myself I when I can differ short-term pleasure from long-term satisfaction. I like being me most when I act on my beliefs and values my integrity, even if it upsets other people and risks their disapproval and rejection. I respect myself when I admit my mistakes, promptly apologize to others if I have hurt them, and try to learn from my errors. I like that I am usually genuine with other people. I don't have to pretend to be someone I'm not. Once you identify your respect criteria, you are most likely to be aware of them and choose them. You can imagine being your own best cheerleader without feeling weird, guilty, or anxious. As you do this, expect resistance from your perfectionist, critic, pessimist, and worrier themselves. Then they need to grow. Trust that yourself, other managers, and your higher power will keep you inner kids safe and healthy. Option 11. Examine your attitude about pride, self-acceptance, and approval. If you were taught pride is a sin, pride means you have swelled head, rethink whether you choose options to help you now. Non-egotistical pride is healthy and nutritious. Non-egotistical pride is feeling the same appreciation and admiration for yourself and your achievements that you do for other people. Do you agree? Would your childhood caregivers agree? Option: negotiate an attitude adjustment with your inner critic and perfectionist about this belief. Option 12. Stay clear on the difference between being selfish, attending your own needs and welfare while staying aware of others' equal needs, and selfish, seeking your own comfort without caring about other people's needs or feelings. Being intentionally selfish without guilt promotes serenity and holistic health. Option 13. Teach yourselves to balance short-term gratification and long-term satisfactions. Put a reminder of this balance where you can see it until it becomes an habit. If inner kids and their guardian sub-selves control your personality, they will usually opt for short-term comfort. That promotes guilt, shame, future remorse, and self-disrespect. More options towards raising your self-respect. Option 14. Evaluate your recent decisions and behaviors each day or week. Give yourself an empathetic self-respect report card in normal and special situations. This will get easier as you work to adjust and synchronize the inner family roles of your inner critic, perfectionist, idealist, optimist, catastrophizer, cynic, doctor. Note that the difference between affirmation, I appreciate things about myself non-egotistically, and bragging, I'm better than other people because. Option 15. Intentionally choose an attitude like mistakes and failures do not define my worth. They usually are my best decision and effort. At the time, they are valuable changes for me to learn about myself in the world. If some sub-selves oppose this, ask what they are afraid of and proactively work to trust your managers and reduce their fears. Option 16. In confusing and scary situations, authorize yourself to stop the action without guilt and clarify. What do I need in this situation to earn my own respect? Variation. Clarify your definition of personal integrity. Can you define that now? Then, in dilemmas, ask which option fits my integrity best. Repeat this over time and enjoy having it become a habit. Option 17. Distinguish between guilt, I do bad things, and shame, and I am a bad thing. They are healed differently. Evolve a conscious strategy to avoid and heal guilt and shame, and coach yourself to use it every day. This is a part of reducing psychological wounds, lesson 1, and requires yourself to steadily lead your other personality sub-selves. Option 18. Read and apply books here. Nathaniel Brandon's The 6 Pillars of Self-Esteem, John Bradshaw, Healing the Shame That Binds You, and Hull and Cedar Stone, embracing your inner critic. There are many others. Option 19. Identify recurring memories that tend to renew your guilt and shame over past behaviors and decisions. Every time I think of having an affair, I feel awful. Use part words or equivalent to forgive yourself for this and let them go. If useful and safe enough, apologize to people whom you feel were hurt by your behaviors. Do you do this to free yourself or make them feel better? Option 20. Stay alert for situations and relationships that promote shame and guilt and avoid them without guilt, shame, or anxiety. This is self-nurturance, not cowardice. In such situations, keep your true self in charge. Assert firm limits with your inner critic, idealistic and perfectionist, and connect your shamed child yourself with your nurturing, loving parent yourself. Option 21. If you care for children, reflect on what you are teaching them about respecting themselves, and now you are teaching them. Are you guiding them to moderate their self-criticism and perfectionism, and to praise and appreciate themselves when merited without false humility? Are they able to receive compliments gracefully without self-discounts? Anyone could have done that. Option 22. As you gradually reduce your psychological wounds and gain genuine self-respect, affectionately teach your energetic perfectionist, critical achiever, and patient sub-selves to adopt a motto like progress, not perfection. Option 23. Clarify what love means to you and meditate how self-respect and self-love relate to each other. Give your sub-self steady encouragement to love themselves as much as they do other special people in your life. Use these 23 self-respect options as guides and awareness sparkers, not absolutes. Sense their theme and trust your creativity. Pause, breathe, and reflect. Do each of these self-respect options make sense to you? Do they seem doable? Does it seem credible and intentional? Patient progress on each of them will make the others easier. Practicing options like these promotes effective wound reduction and more satisfying relationships. Building and maintaining your self-respect and integrity is probably the second most impactful goal that you can work towards to maintain serenity, holistic health, and a high nurturing family. The first goal is freeing yourself to guide your other personality sub-self. How much priority have your ruling sub-selves given these targets recently? Now, let's build on this option and explore another priceless treasure, the quest for self-love. Do you love yourself now? Whether yes or no, can you say why? A paradox is, unless you have experienced genuine self-love versus egotism or narcissism, you can't know how to answer that vital question. In this YouTube clip provides a perspective on an exercise to help to answer this question. For example, for perspective, egotism is believing you are superior to another people and your needs. Okay, for perspective, egotism is believing you are superior to other people and your needs and opinions are more important than theirs. Narcissism is being focused on your own woundedness, that you cannot see and appreciate the equal worth of other people despite their differences. Self-love appreciates and respects you and all other people equally. Reflect and name 5 people or whom you have felt that you can love. How would you define the difference between liking and needing someone and loving them? Often these distinctions blur. Loving yourself starts with being clear on your identity and liking and respecting who you see yourself to be. As you know, there are different kinds of love, like the colors of a spectrum of life. There is marital love, parent-child love, platonic love between friends or relatives, love of a higher power, a country, an animal, a favorite place, object, experience, or music. A common element in all types of interpersonal love is significant pleasure in being with a special child or adult. Another common element is the existence of a deep, stable emotional bond between the lover and beloved. A bond is a constant caring and appreciation undiluted by time, distance, or lack of contact. A genuine love between people cannot occur without mutual respect and trust. Do you agree? Also, reflect on the difference between spontaneous, genuine love and dutiful, guilt-based love. For example, you are supposed to love mommy, daddy, grandma, grandpa, sister, etc. We may say I love you to these people because not doing so is shameful or bad, and suggest something is wrong with us. Similarly, some people confuse needing someone with loving them. Do you know anyone like that? Another reality is that sometimes we can love, like, enjoy, appreciate some attribute of person, for example, their sense of humor, compassion, playfulness, courage, responsibility, cheerfulness, listening, etc., and we cannot love the whole person. Have you ever felt that? It is your experience that lack respect and trust, genuine love for a person must be earned over time. If so, do you have to do something to earn self-love? As an infant, you learned that well before coherent thought and speech whether you felt loved, lovable, or and whether you had to do something to get that delicious good me feeling unconditional love. You were a blank state and grew a good me, bad me sense of your expectation, of your perceptions, of your caregiver's facial expressions, sounds, touches, and actions. Your first experience was my love feeling comes from the outside of me, from another person. Your responses reflected need and or pleasure, not love yet. Growing mature includes rebalancing your initial love dependence on external sources with self-love, accepting, respecting, liking, trusting, enjoying, and sharing yourself without anxiety, guilt, or shame. This is hard, especially if your caregivers didn't genuinely love themselves and steadily encourage you to do the same. We start life feeling stupid, clumsy, needy, confused, weak, and in-depth compared to caregivers and older children. Remember? Their behavior around us over time forges us unconsciously early feeling between I am good, lovable, worthy, and I am bad, disgusting, and worthless. Your early decision about being lovable or not was self-centered and purely subjective. You couldn't discern and compensate for your caregiver's feelings. Unlovable themselves, shamed, over-distracted by other feelings, inept and knowing and feeling your immediately and long-term developmental needs, periodically overwhelmed and unsupported and do so. Do you love yourself now? Focus for a moment on the adult in your life for whom you have felt the strongest not erotic love. If you can't think of such person, try identifying someone that you really like and or respect. Concentrate on the feeling that you have or had for this marvelous person. Consider how you have come to feel that way about them. Can you consciously identify what it is about this special adult that merits this unique feeling? Now look at the nearest mirror. Do you feel the same emotions for the person you see? Were you consistently encouraged to like, respect, and love yourself without guilt, shame, ambivalence as a child? How has that affected your life and relationships? A vital step towards learning to love yourself is growing aware of that an affection and admiration for your amazing inner family of personality sub-selves. They are marvelous, diverse, loyal, talented, and dedicated to your survival. That you met your inner crew yet? If so, do you love them for who they are and what they bring you? Reality check. On a scale 1, I feel no guilt-free love for myself, to 10, I am able to love myself as much as I love another special person in my life. How would you rate your current love, self-love? You cannot make yourself or anyone else love you. You can learn to be aware of yourself, accept your unique mix of traits and limitations, like whom you see, and learn to respect the unique, worthy person wearing your skin above. Do you agree? If not, what do you believe? Recap. This article explores two vital aspects of holistic health and psychological wound reduction: self-respect, self-love. Each of these can be hard to achieve for typical wooden members of low-nurturing families. The article proposes 23 practical options of any motivated, aware person that can use to improve their self-respect. The second part of the article offers perspective on love and loving yourself. The keystones for both of these treasures are in freeing your true self to guide your other sub-selves, personality in all situations. One result of genuine self-respect and self-love is the self-confidence in important roles and situations in your life. Another result is acknowledging your rights as a worthy person, which allows effective assertion and problem solving. A useful resource of grown wood and children is the book How to Love Yourself When You Don't Know How, Healing All Your Inner Children by Jackie Bishop and Mary Grant. There are many similar resources available now. Search your favorite online bookseller for self-love, but don't expect them to acknowledge personality subcells. Pause, breathe, and reflect. Why did you read this article? Did you get what you needed? If not, what do you need? Who's answering these questions? Your true self or someone else? Thank you very much for listening to me. Comment, like, subscribe, hit the bell button, and for donations there is the email down below. Thank you very much and have a nice day. Bye.